What we see here between Victor and his dad changes everything that we have ever thought to be true in this town. Like, just listen very closely to what is said by Victor in this moment.
He came in a car just like the rest of us. Thought his yellow suit was funny. We thought he was just like us. We made him our friend when everyone died. I found Mom out by the bottle tree. He was eating her.
If you do not understand what we are looking at here, I am going to give it to you straight. This one conversation gives us undeniable proof that Victor's dad is not only evil, but that he is undoubtedly the entity in control of the monsters. Because what I want you to focus on in this scene is that Victor specifically says that the people of the town embraced the man in yellow and treated him like a valued member of the community. And what this tells us is that Victor's mom did not know who the man in yellow was when he arrived. And do you know what this means? It means that Victor's mom obviously was not the person who made the paintings that are located in the basement of that house that Victor's dad claims were created by Victor's mom. And we know with 100% certainty that this conclusively cannot be the case because of a very simple fact. The man in yellow, or the being who chooses to appear as the man in yellow, did not change into a new disguise like we saw him doing when he changed into Sophia in the current story. So he knew that there was no one in the town who could recognize him, that there was no one who could recognize this particular form. In other words, he already knew that Victor's mom had no idea who the man in yellow is, and based off of how the man in yellow was treated like any other member of the town, he was clearly correct. And this is just one of an insane amount of clues that not only has Victor's dad been lying to the people of this town about who made these paintings located in the basement of that house, but that the idea of anybody in this town being a reincarnation has been a complete fabrication created by the entity in control of the monsters, Victor's dad. And this is why you need to pay very close attention to what I'm about to show you, because what we see here changes everything.
No, it wasn't Jasper. It was the boy in white. Everything lies here. The boy in white was trying to tell Christopher that to save the children, he would have to go through the tree. I told my mother what the boy in white said. That's why she left us.
This scene remains one of the most important moments in this entire show, as it's one of the biggest clues that the idea of anybody in this town being a reincarnation has been a lie in every single way that was designed by Victor's dad, the entity himself, to mislead and destroy the people of this town. Because I really want you to listen closely and think about what Victor actually says in this scene, as it's very important to understand how badly we are being played by the evil forces of this town. Like, Victor specifically says that it was only after he tells his mother about what he overheard the boy in white telling Christopher that his mother went to the bottle tree to try to save the children locked in the tower. And this is even more irrefutable proof for what we already knew, that Victor's mom had no idea about the bottle trees, and obviously that she didn't know that there were supposedly any children locked in the tower at all before Victor told her about it, and therefore that she didn't know about them before she came into the town, like what Victor's dad wants you to believe. But all of what we're talking about here is barely even scratching the surface on the insane amount of evidence that Victor's dad has been lying to us this entire time. Like, just watch this scene that I'm about to show you.
She was the one who had been chosen, but others were chosen before her. She could see each and every one. Each and every one.
This scene right here is massive for us to start to really understand the insane levels of manipulation that the people of this town are being put through by the entity in control of the monsters. Because what I want you to really take note of in this scene with Victor's dad is that he specifically says that Victor's mom could see each and every one of the women that she was reincarnated from. So you cannot use the excuse that Victor's mom somehow knew everything else about the town except where to find the bottle tree that she needed to go into to reach the children in the tower. Because we literally saw Victor himself, someone who can't remember half of his own life, find the bottle tree in literally less than a minute, despite the fact that he hadn't been there for more than 40 years. So what Victor's dad wants you to believe, that Victor's mom, someone he claims had the memories of at least like a dozen people, including the people who were living in the village before the supposed child sacrifice took place, but yet she couldn't find the bottle tree before Victor told her about it. Like, obviously the story being told by Victor's dad is completely nonsensical. Like, he literally says that Victor's mom had all of the memories of every woman that she had been reincarnated from, but she had to be told by Victor about how how to save the children locked in the tower. Obviously, that doesn't make any sense. So we already know for a fact that Victor's dad is clearly a liar. Because think about what this really means. It means that if Victor's dad isn't lying about the knowledge of the town possessed by Victor's mom, then this being that we know as the man in yellow would not have been able to infiltrate the town while appearing in this form. But he literally did, which means that he wasn't afraid of being exposed, i.e., he already knew with 100% certainty that there was no one in the town, including Victor's mom, that could have recognized him. The only possible way that Victor's mom could be a reincarnation but yet not recognize the man in yellow is if this being appearing as the man in yellow had never been to the town in this form before Victor and his mother arrived. But that just leads you back to the same and only logical conclusion that we have already previously made, i.e. that Victor's dad has been lying about who made these paintings. And this brings me to yet another crucial moment to understanding how badly we are being manipulated by Victor's dad, the entity himself. And this is a scene that literally no one ever talks about.
You think at this point I haven't seen enough of you people? Try something new, because this...
You okay? Who are you talking to?
Nobody.
Let me rephrase that. Who did you think you were talking to?
What we see in this moment is massive, absolutely huge for us to start unraveling the unimaginable extent of the manipulation that we are being put through by the incredibly vile demon that we know as Victor's dad. Because what I want you to really notice here is the absolutely insane level of precision that Victor's dad showed when he accurately described why Jade fell off of the ladder. Like, think about what Victor's dad actually says to Jade in this moment. He was able to somehow know that the reason Jade fell off of the ladder is because he was having a vision, and even more specifically, Victor's dad knew that Jade fell off of the ladder because he was having a conversation with something that only he could see. And to me, it's very obvious that the reason Victor's dad knew what was happening to Jade is because he himself inserted that vision into Jade's brain. And I want to remind you that we have already seen the kimono demon appearing in Elgin's dreams. So it would be very easy for a similarly telepathic being to insert visions and, for example, fake memories into someone's brain to make them believe that they are a reincarnation, which is obviously what we see being experienced by Jade and Tabitha. And we know for a fact that Victor's dad, the entity himself, is the one responsible for the fake memories being implanted into their brains because of the next scene that I'm about to show you.
There should be some crackers in the glove compartment. Might settle your stomach.
Where'd you get this?
Now, this scene right here is monumental in so many different ways that you could never imagine. The first thing here is that Tabitha would never have seen that bracelet if Victor's dad didn't tell her to look inside of that glove compartment. And this is just one of many, many clues of how insane this thing that we know as Victor's dad has been manipulating us. Because what we see here is that this thing that is pretending to be a human being is intentionally directing Tabitha and Jade towards particular events to make them believe that they are reincarnations, so that he can convince them into completing the quest to supposedly save the children locked in the tower. Like, we already know for a fact that whoever's in control of the monsters wanted Jade and Tabitha to play the violin because they never sent the Nightwalkers to take down those bottles at any time in the past hundreds of years. And this is why what I'm going to show you next is so important, because the writers, they haven't been very subtle about the real identity of the being who chooses to appear as Victor's dad.
I went through a magic tree and wake up in the hospital. You just happened to be here. No. We're not really in condemnation, are we? It's just more of this place.
She was the one who had been chosen to free the children. But you've been chosen now, too. How did you get out?
Now, this is where things start to become far more clear than what they were before, because once you understand that Victor's dad and the boy in white are clearly one and the same, literally everything starts to make a lot more sense than ever before. Because we already know that the boy in white is telepathic because he spoke to Sarah without opening his mouth, and he's been inserting dreams into Elgin's brain. This obviously explains how he's been able to manipulate Victor's memories to make him believe that this man is his father, and it also explains how he's been able to insert visions and fake memories into Jade and Tabitha's brains to manipulate them into completing the quest for him. It's also obvious that the boy in white is clearly a storywalker just like Julie, so him being in two places at the same chronological point in time in the story is easily explained. It's also important to understand that when the boy in white was telling Christopher to go into the tree, we now know for a fact that the man in yellow was there living in the town at that same moment, which means that the boy is always in control of where the faraway trees send you, regardless of whether the man in yellow is in the town or not, which therefore confirms something that we already knew to be true, i.e. that he was intentionally lying to Tabitha when he said that he doesn't know whether or not the trees would send her to the lighthouse. And there's many signs of the boy in white being in control of the monsters, like how the boy made Victor spend almost 4 nights in the same exact tunnels that the monsters have been sleeping in, waiting for Tabitha to fall through the basement. And guess what? The monsters never attacked Victor. What a coincidence. And even in this very same episode, Victor literally says that he saw the man in yellow eating his mother. But unlike what we saw with how he almost killed Julie, the man in yellow let Victor go, and he's been allowing him to live in this town for the past 40 years. So obviously, they do not attack Victor because he was claimed by the entity in control of the monsters, Victor's dad, also known as the boy in white. Even in this episode, we still weren't shown how the people in Victor's massacre were taken out. And to me, I'm pretty sure what happened is that they were broken open from the inside, like what happened to Reggie's wife at the end of season 2. And it's obviously the boy in white who does that, because that guy's wife, right before she died in her sleep, kept repeating the same nursery rhyme that the boy in white was saying to Elgin when he appeared in his dreams. Sarah also specifically said that she believed the boy in white is also trapped in this town just like everyone else. And of course, that could be a hint that the reason he's appeared to Ethan as the ghost of Jim Matthews was to lure him to the Lake of Tears so that he can set him free. And it's probably part of why he wants Jade and Tabitha to believe that they are reincarnations. But what we know for a fact is this game has been rigged in so many different ways that we could never possibly imagine. Like, even when you look at Julie's story walking, there are so many signs that it's being controlled. So go watch this video right here to see why it's obvious to me that every destination she is story walking to is clearly being determined by the entity himself, i.e. the boy in white.